After being accepted into the University of Kentucky, Steve Guynn decided to pursue a degree in theater. He took on his first professional theater contract in the summer of 2006 with a company on Roanoke Island called The Last Colony. Upon graduating 2007 with a Bachelor's of Art degree in theater, he worked at Tecumseh, the outdoor drama, for 2 summers, then went on to join a children's touring show in New Hampshire called Hampstead Stage Company. He performed in musicals, murder mysteries, and films in his hometown, Lexington, Kentucky, in between seasonal contracts. Steve has appeared in over 30 shorts and feature-length films, as well as his self-produced web series, Breakfast Impossible. Steve has always had an interest in entertaining audiences and delving into the extreme, as he has been an avid skateboarder since his childhood, sang and played guitar for various punk and hardcore bands, and has even been known to skydive. Steve is currently acting in movies, yet still finds time to ride his skateboard while pursuing his acting career. Welcome to the Actors Spotlight, brought to you by Rotting Corpse Productions. My name is Emily Lovely, and my special guest today is Steve Guynn. How you doing, Steve?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I'm doing good.
So, how long have you been acting?
Since 2003, when my first acting class, I guess, if that would count.
Yeah, that counts.
My first time on stage, like in an actual play and on film, was 2004.
So what got you involved? What made you want to do an acting class?
Well, actually, I was going to Lexington Community College, and my first declared major was wildlife science, and I was really into that. I was really digging that, and it got into classes like organic chemistry and stuff like that. And so once I had enough credits, I transferred to UK, and I was like, man, this stuff's really like math heavy. It's really just, and I just couldn't hang. And I was like, what do I want to do as a major? And I just kind of changed it to theater spontaneously. So kind of because I'm a bum. That's why I got into theater.
All right.
Yeah.
So, so you've been into it since 2003. How many films have you been in?
Approximately 30.
30,
Maybe
wow.
A little more. I don't know.
So out of 30 films, what do you think your favorite role is?
That is a good question. The very first one I was ever in was in 2004, and it was called Know Your Chronic Masturbator, and I was like the lead masturbator, and that was pretty fun.
That was your breakthrough role.
Yeah, and
the
it
lead
wasn't
masturbator.
Yeah, and it wasn't as bad as it sounds. It was just more, it was done like a public service announcement, like watch out for this guy. He's whacking off, kind of thing. But I mean, I definitely liked Mellow Fellow on Breakfast Impossible, and I like Dr. Newton on all the Saucer Sex series from Goat Boy Films. That's a fun role. Probably several. I like all kinds of it.
So, what's been like the most challenging role?
That is like, can I put a plural on that? Roles?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. It's your interview.
Okay, one play I was in with a children's touring show in New Hampshire was Prince Caspian, which is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe Part 2.
Yeah.
And I was 8 different roles in that, and that was tough. That kind of drove me crazy, and people do it every season for different children's touring shows. So I'm not singular in that. I want to make clear, like, people do it all the time, but it was for me to be reapy cheap and then go backstage for like 1 second and come right back out, and I'm Aslan, and like, all of Narnia will hear our roar. And then come out, and then I'm,
So, like, how do you get in character for that many roles? I mean, with such little time to prepare.
We had a month of just to rehearse. I mean, it was a professional contract, so I didn't have a regular job at the time. It was just, you just lived it, and you rehearsed each one of those characters. It'll kind of drive you nutty.
Yeah.
Doing all that. But so that was the most challenging acting thing just ever that I've ever done. But it was once the play was up and on its feet, it was very rewarding.
Yeah. So would you say that's like the most, like the proudest performance that you have is?
I don't know if, I don't know the answer to that.
Really?
I've really enjoyed, most of the things I've done. So I don't know if I have one that I feel proud, like the proud papa. Like,
yeah.
You know.
This is my crowning achievement.
That felt like an achievement, but it
sounds difficult.
it felt like I had been through a war.
Yeah.
And came out alive,
Yeah.
But I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
I don't know. So.
Do you ever draw from your experiences to play roles like that, or especially characters that you have nothing in common with?
Well, with some you do, and with some it's just it's just what you would call character work.
Yeah. Total
Characterization of, like Dr. Cornelius. I could pull from my own experience from that, but for like Reapy Cheap or I smell human,
Or the lead masturbator.
Yeah, the lead masturbator. Now that was an easy role.
Drawn
right there.
From experience.
Yeah, that was. I had.
You were
that
typecasted.
one. I was like, this guy right here.
So, I mean, after acting for so long, do you ever draw from real life experiences, or do you ever act in real life? Like, do you ever use it to get out of situations?
Mm-hmm.
All the time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. I use it to, there's occasions in the workplace, and there's occasions where
calling in sick. Do you ever pretend to be sick to not have to come in?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
I would totally do that all the time.
It's more psychological with me. It's like if I know how a person ticks, like how they work, and I want a certain response out of them, I might feed them a certain sentence that I know will get that certain response.
Okay, so kind of like a little manipulation.
Yes, I have to admit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like, and I think that comes from being a theater major. I think that before that, I just totally didn't think like that.
Yeah.
But now,
it triggers emotions.
Or something.
Yeah. Right, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. I try.
Yeah.
I'm no doctor.
So have you ever had to try to be super mad or really upset in a film, cry or freak out or anything?
Yeah, it's hard to cry.
How do you make yourself cry, or how do you make yourself super angry?
Anger is a little easier.
Right.
Anger.
What do you think about?
Usually I'm in the moment of whatever the scenario is in that movie or in that play.
Yeah.
I am outraged by that.
Yeah.
I really don't pull from life experiences. And with anger in particular, it's pretty easy to that's one of the easier emotions in my opinion.
Right.
And with happiness and things like that, sadness is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Have you ever had to cry on demand?
No, I can't do it.
Oh.
I'm just admitting. That's out of my scope so far. One time ever I cried, and that was in a stage show, actually. I was playing Ebenezer Scrooge.
Really?
Yeah, and by the time I was visited by the ghost of Christmas Present, and I was kneeling at my own grave, I cried. And it was real. I was really crying. I wasn't bawling, but I was freaking crying.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So are you working on anything right now?
Oh, well, I have a cheat sheet.
Oh, I see.
For this. Okay, because this is I can't remember all this stuff, which is a good thing.
Yeah, you're a busy man.
Okay.
If you have the full auto list, you're a busy guy.
Okay, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I'm going to give you some things in post-production and kind of in the works first, and then things that are in production. How about that?
Okay, yeah, that works.
So in post, Jerry Williams, longtime buddy of mine, we have Bride of Saucer Monster, and then him and I are co-writing some Astro Space Hero, which is his web series.
Yeah.
And then Billy Boyd is going to be releasing Steampunk. Oh, can I just stop right there?
Yeah.
On that? Okay. Billy started Steampunk, I think, 2010. And there's several folks on the scene that are, super stoked on this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's we all, not just me, feel like he better release this year. Or else everybody on the scene, we're going to gang up and hog tie him. And I'm going to put some dynamite in his ass, right? And have a wick right there. and I'm gonna light it, and it's gonna go blam like a Batman fight. You see the word blam?
Yeah,
you
the
onomatopoeias,
where it's like the Well, now the courts have evidence against you, so.
Anyway, I want to see steampunk is the whole point.
Okay.
And then Claude and Billy and I have some more Breakfast Impossible coming out. Woot woot. Excited. Josh Felty has some more Beards coming out, the animated series.
Yeah.
We've recorded some stuff. And William Lee has Architect of Chaos. That was pretty awesome to work on. Jason Crow and Ronnie Jonah have the zombie movie coming out, which is coming out soon. And I'm totally stoked on that. And Greg Brock and James Smith have Cedar Swamp Files, which is a thing we were way out in the woods, froze our butts off, like for hours out in the woods to film that, and like it was totally awesome. And then there's these crazy people. Jason Jones and Emily Lovely and Wes Hall and myself have this thing coming called Swerve, where we did something in that's not done like regularly. Like it was a kind of a car chase scene. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of films locally that's done with two vehicles because the timing is a lot and it takes a lot to get that together.
And legal issues.
Yeah, well, yeah, running over anyway.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah, we don't want to go into that.
Okay, so what do you have going right now that's pre-production or in production?
I have some things in pre-production and production.
All right.
Production. So Kenny Bates and Sammy Bates are going to be doing Distillery, and it's in pre-production, and there's a oogle boogle boogle of people that's really excited about that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool stuff. Cherokee Hall and Heather Hall are going to be doing Terror at Crimson Creek, and the premise on that's pretty wacky. Like it's awesome. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but there's a lot of options with that kind of thing, and I can't say more than that right now because
right.
It's in pre-production.
Of course, yeah.
So in production, Devin Hilton has been working on this thing called The Freeze, and I just finished my role in that. The movie is still in production, but I finished my role, and it was very rewarding, really creative process. I played an inmate that did all kinds of tricky stuff. So with time and antidotes and stuff, and I can't say more.
Right.
And then also actually in pre-production, let me back up. Matt Webb is going to be doing this thing called Decay, and I'm freaking stoked on that. I got through your question. Yeah.
So how many of all these are you like lead role, and how many of them are you in supporting roles, and which ones do you prefer? Yeah, you should have crumpled it up. Wasn't done with you yet.
Let's see. Lead 1, 2, 3. You. So there's like a few, 4 or 5 things I'm a lead role, and there's a handful of things that I'm what you would call a principal role, as in one of the, and a few things that I'm a supporting role. I'm just giving it a rough look.
Which one do you prefer? I mean, do you like lead roles? Do you like principal roles?
I like both. I've found that it is a balancing act because I work a regular job. I work 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So if you take on a lead role in a feature-length movie, then you need to be able to give it its proper due and commit to it. So sometimes it can be just as rewarding just taking on a supporting role.
Right, yeah.
Really, because, you're just talking 2 or 3 or 4 of your weekends, on that, as opposed to like a lead role could be 2 or 3 or 4 of your months or years on that, which is fine. I totally dig that, but just depending on the length of the piece and how interesting it is, I think both. I've done both, and the more acting is one thing I like to do.
Right.
Like playing guitar, it's all creativity. It's all just making something new. And so if I can pepper in a supporting role over here, and then pepper in a weekend of skateboarding over here, or something, then I'm a happy camper.
Cool.
I'll put it like that. How about that?
Yeah. So it seems like you do a lot of sci-fi and horror.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just kind of gravitate towards those types of films, or is it like your favorite?
I do a lot of that. I'm really, really into science fiction.
Yeah.
If you could open me up, you would see Dan Abnett. He's like one of my favorite authors. Larry Niven, he's awesome. I mean, I have, and I like horror, and to watch some horror actually scares me. Like, legitimately makes me paranoid. So sometimes I can't hang with it as much as because it really does make me paranoid.
Yeah.
Like I'm just checking all around me, and it just.
That means it's working.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes. But
that's a good horror movie.
Horror is great in the movie making process, though.
Yeah.
All the blood cannons and the latex and the silicone, and it's just a hoot to work on, and you get to just either be really vicious or be the victim, and it's awesome. And then science fiction deals, it has more philosophy in it. That's just my take. I like words and stuff like that, So.
Yeah. So since you've been in this, this genre, what's the most like uncomfortable situation that you've been put in, whether it's makeup or anything like that?
Oh, well, I don't know. I should say, uncomfortable. Let me think. I'm sure there's something. I guess just freezing my balls off a few times can make you. I've done that like several times now for movies. Standing out in the cold in the middle. That just seems to be a recurring thing. It's like, we're going to shoot this weekend, Steve. You're going to freeze your balls off. But I'm not alone in that. There's several people freezing their other stuff off too.
Yeah.
So, uncomfortable morally. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, maybe morally, but like physically uncomfortable.
Physically uncomfortable.
Because there's like lots of makeup and compromising costumes that go into that kind of genre.
I don't think I've really done anything so far that's challenged me that much physically.
Yeah.
I'd like to do more.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd wear the RoboCop suit, or I would suit up and I like all that stuff. I love practical effects. So
yeah,
there hasn't been anything that's really challenged me physically.
Yeah. Well, I've worked with you a few times, and if there's one thing I can say about you, it's that you can do any role without any hesitation at all. How do you do that? How do you just kind of get rid of the self-consciousness and just do it,
Well, there's a thing to that, and it's the preparation. That's where your confidence comes from. The word method, or the term method acting, is tossed around a lot, and people tend to think like Marlon Brando with cotton balls in his mouth, or Dustin Hoffman not sleeping for the Marathon Man just so he'll look terrible, and stuff. And actually, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Method acting is dissecting the script, like days or weeks, however much time you have before you are on set, and dissecting it into your intentions, what your character's intentions are, all the given circumstances within the piece. And once you know this stuff and you've rehearsed it as such, then that's where your confidence in that role comes from.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And that's method acting, with or without, a little physical trick. You can do these little physical tricks, but true method acting is getting into the character by really doing your homework.
Yeah. So is that like the advice you would give to an aspiring actor, is to just dissect the role? Or, what other advice would you give to someone who wants to start acting?
Well, that is one thing, and I would say get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
Would be my main thing. So many people I've seen so many come and go, over the 10 years or so I've been doing this, and they get some positive feedback on one thing that they did, which is good. But then they, in their mind, like, they want fortune and fame. And that creates a vicious cycle. There's nothing wrong with, having aspirations to go as high as you can. But I've seen people burn out quicker because it's a perpetual cycle of disappointment because you're not yet rich or famous.
Yeah.
The next movie you do, you're still not rich or famous. The next 3 or 4 things you do, you're still not rich or famous, so you're disappointed. Try and get some enjoyment out of the creativity of it.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Just enjoy that you're building this fort with these other people. Does that sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are your goals as an actor?
Well, lately it's just to keep on doing it. Like, try to find ways to keep being in these productions and keep my day job, unless something else different happens. But that's my reality is working and paying my bills and then doing movies. That's just it. Is like trying to find ways to keep getting in these roles that I enjoy so much and keep my day job. That's my goal.
Okay, so I have to go back to the chronic masturbator. Is there anything that you wish would just like disappear from the face of the earth? Like any films that you've done or PSAs about chronic masturbation that comes to mind? Anything like that?
Not that one. That was a fun role, obviously. But, there's no movies that I've done, but there was one commercial I did in 2004 for Beezer Homes. It was for a local production company made it, but it was for the company Beezer Homes. And that commercial played for months and months and months and months, and they used my voice on the radio. And I had to go get a haircut for it and shave my face and just like
look presentable.
Well, kind of. Yeah, and
gosh.
And I wore this like polo and just total cheesehead. Just like It was ridiculous how much I was like the gimmick of the commercial was stop renting. Like, you can own a home, and I had to be just like that and stuff. So cheesy that it was just awful, and everybody was, oh my man, I saw you on that commercial. I was like, oh god, yeah, eat it. I don't want to hear it. Like, it was terrible. Like, but I think technically that was my first paid acting gig though.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. But I felt beyond cheesy. That's really how I feel about that. It was a quick couple $100 though, or whatever it was, $150 or something for like an hour of my time.
Yeah. So do you prefer doing commercials or movies or theater or?
Definitely not commercials.
Yeah.
I'll take them because it's good money. Voice work is pretty decent money. Movies and theater, I think, are both magic.
Yeah.
The magic in movie making is, you can tell the audience where to look, and the magic in theater is you get to be in the same room with the people you're telling the story to.
Yeah.
So I think they're both magic. They're really, there's really a process there. So.
Do you think one of them is more difficult than the other?
No.
No?
Mm-mm. It just depends on what it is you're doing. Like, if you're doing Wagner's Ring Cycles, that's going to be the most difficult thing you've ever done. Because that's like a whole week performance. And it's opera, But, I just think just depends on what you're in. One thing may be easy, and the next time, one movie might be easy, and the next movie you do might be really difficult.
Yeah.
So it just depends on that thing.
Yeah. Well, you're a pretty unique guy.
You're a unique woman.
Thank you. Have you ever been compared to any other actors?
Looks wise, I have, and I don't get this one at all.
Okay.
I've heard this for you. I mean that sincerely, but Paul Newman, I don't see it. Friends and family both are like, if they ever make a biopic on Paul Newman, you have to do it. Like, and I'm just like, no, I don't look like Paul Newman. Acting wise, no, I haven't Gumby. I don't know. Acting wise, but looks wise, Paul Newman, and I don't see that.
All right.
I really don't. But I would do a biopic on Paul Newman though.
Yeah, especially if it was a commercial about renting not owning, and Paul Newman was a chronic masturbator.
Yeah. Yeah. Butch Cassidy and the chronic masturbator.
So, if there was any film and it was being remade, which film would it be that you would want to be in? If that makes sense. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been so many that are like my favorite movies that's a difficult question, but I do have an answer.
Okay.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
That is a good answer.
That movie rocks. And I would be the creature or the scientist. I would be happy to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Because it would be, I would say Conan, because I love the Conan movies.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have the physique to be Conan, but like I'd be the thief.
You can work on it.
Yeah, I could work on it. I'd have to do a whole lot of push-ups or something. But I could be the thief or a wizard or something,
Yeah.
But the Conan movies, they just did that remake with Jason Momoa and stuff. So they haven't remade The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I would be all over that. That's one of my favorite movies ever made.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. So, which director, out of all these films, all these shorts that you've done, which director have you worked with the most?
Jerry Williams.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Has he taught you anything? Given you some advice or anything?
Yeah, I come from the school of Jerry Williams. like many on the scene. Even though my degree is in theater, like I've had more experience working with him than, any other thing probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does a lot of really experimental science fiction, use of puppetry, use of a lot of weaponry. I've broke a lot of his plastic swords and plastic axes in fight scenes. I probably owe him some money for that. But I just recently bought a Nerf sword so that next time he has me in as some kind of warrior, like this thing hopefully won't break.
Yeah.
It's a humdinger, and you could really whack somebody upside the head with it too. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So tell me more about Breakfast Impossible.
That was just something that just came together. I guess the stars were lined up.
Yeah.
Right. And like the Reaper's Image, kind of. All the elements came together, and that was an awesome project, And
Mm-hmm.
Breakfast Impossible, around October 2010, Claude and Billy had already made this thing about the space elevator going up. And we were hanging out, and they expressed interest in me coming up with my own character, really. And that's just how that started. Well, from there, I started hanging out more, and I started writing these little skits that weren't full episodes. They weren't even like 6 minutes, but they were skits. And some of them now kind of are episodes. There's a lot of skits there's a few things of Mellow Fellow, my character, just that are on YouTube of just Mellow Fellow goofing around.
Yeah. Do you think he's like you? Like, did you write him to be like you?
He's a little more out there. There's a lot of me in that character.
Yeah.
Though. But he makes decisions that I wouldn't necessarily make, like smoking cat hair and stuff. But, but there is a lot of me. There's a lot of trying to live in acceptance. And he looks like a hippie, but he's really blue collar. I mean, if you look, like, he gets a lot done in those episodes. He's like on it. He's got his hands on something, doing something.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of me in that. And but anyway, I was really, really, jived on that, on getting to work with these guys on this. And we started meeting in Claude's studio in his backyard, and I still have a lot of love for those dudes to this day about that. That was a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And when I've showed up as Mellow Fellow, like at some of the conventions. Sometimes not everyone at the whole convention, but certain groups, like I've been treated like a rock star.
Yeah.
It's just like, really? You all know this guy? Like, this is awesome. It's a good feeling. So.
Well, are you planning on writing any more?
I write all the time, but as for Breakfast Impossible, we kind of want to finish our production of season 1.
Okay.
Like we want to release some more episodes, a few more episodes, and then possibly work on a season 2. But I want to work with both those guys again on stuff. But
yeah.
I write stuff like I want to work with you and Jason on stuff that I write. More stuff that Jason writes though, because he's a good writer. But anyway.
Cool. All right, Steve. So I have to ask you the question that you have to ask every actor. Who's your favorite actor or actress?
There's so many. Definitely Marlon Brando.
Yeah?
Like younger Marlon Brando for actor. He just had so much style. And when he walked on screen, like you wanted to know what he had to say. Your attention went to him, no matter how many other people were on screen. He had that,
Yeah.
That kinesthetic weight to him, or aesthetic weight. And actress, I really like Monica Bellucci. I would like to see her in more stuff like lead roles. She has that same quality to her. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And in The Matrix, in Brotherhood of the Wolf, she was awesome. And in some of her Italian films she's done, she's just awesome. And Vera Farmiga, she's really amazing. And some of these actresses that dominate with subtlety.
Yeah.
They have a subtlety. It's not over the top. Like somebody that has louder movements and stuff would be Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Or something. Really, like you can kind of tell she may come from a stage background. I don't know, but just big, and that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
But some of these female actors that can really just dominate the screen with subtlety, that is impressive.
Yeah.
To me. So I hope that answers your question.
Awesome.
Monica Bellucci, Vera Farmiga, Brando, all good.
Awesome. Well, Steve, it's been great talking to you, and thank you so much for letting me interview you.
Thank you for having me.
I've seen the PSA.
Right. Oh,
I know.
No.
I've seen the chronic masturbator.
That is a problem.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in with us for Actor Spotlight, brought to you by Riding Corpse Production. Don't forget to keep an eye out for Steve Gwynn's upcoming projects. Once again, I'm Emily Lovely, and remember, kids, why rent when you can buy?